Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw. I'm here with someone who's becoming a familiar face here at Insider Travel Report, Carol Cabezas, who is now the president of Azamara, newly promoted in line with the acquisition of Azamara by a private equity group. And we're going to talk about that from Royal Caribbean. And then there's some other big news as we're speaking today. In fact, as we're speaking, Azamara announced that it has acquired another R ship, namely the former Pacific Princess, which Princess sold last week. And they didn't say who they were selling to, but now we found out. So that's great news. But you're going to find out about all that and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, Carol, first of all, congratulations on being named president of Azamara. What's your personal feeling about getting this job after spending so many years as chief operating officer of the brand?
It's a fantastic opportunity. It's an exciting time for the brand, and most importantly, it's a responsibility I take very, very seriously. I feel like over the past several years that I've been with the brand, Larry was wonderful about giving me full latitude to incorporate what I felt was right. And of course, he was always there and shaping things as well. But he was really fantastic about letting me carve a path for us. And so I feel like all of that time was perfect in setting up for what comes now. Mm-hmm. So it's really exciting to look at the responsibility, and particularly when we're looking at the prospect of growth. It couldn't be any better.
No, absolutely. And certainly when I did the story on the acquisition, I got a quote from Larry, and he seemed very positive about the whole. This is Larry Pimentel, who is the former president and CEO of Azamara, who we both know very well. And he was very he praised the deal. He thought it's great to see this brand continue like this. And let's talk about that. From what you've been told, why did now Sycamore Partners is the private equity firm that bought Azamara from Royal Caribbean. They didn't really have any travel companies in the roster of firms they have. What attracted them to Azamara?
It's a couple of things, James. It's number one, the brand has a very special USP. We know what we are. We have a very strong identity, and we don't waver from it. We are solidly destination immersion, and that will not change. Right. And so our loyalty guests are extremely supportive, and they saw how this brand was already well recognized and very well respected and loved by its loyalty members. So that was one aspect that was attractive to them. The other one, it's the size. Because if you think about it, we're the perfect size. We're not too big to where there's only so much expansion that you want to take. And we're not so small that you're doing the heavy lifting of trying to create an awareness and preference for the brand. We're right in the middle where all that heavy lifting has already been done. Right. And with the wonderful support of RCG. And now it's more a matter of taking that to the next step where we grow our ships.
No, absolutely. And of course, that leads me into the next question is obviously Sycamore Partners saw Azamara as a long-term investment that they'll intend to build on. And of course, the just recent acquisition of a fourth ship sort of shows that. Does this show that Sycamore is really betting big on the future of cruising even during this pandemic?
They certainly see the opportunity. And when you a number of years ago, there was a big trend towards people investing in experiences rather than things. There was really a tide that was turning where people said, you know what, I need to focus my dollars on how I feel and doing things that are experiential and grow me rather than a handbag or a car, right? And I think at this point, not only do we still see that, but, the terrible, terrible situation that we're in today has only made people see that even more, in an even bigger way, that they have to get out there in the world and explore and connect with people and get all of those things that they wanted to do done, because we don't want to lose out. We don't want to, waste all of this time all in our homes trying to keep safe. We need to get back out there. And so I think Sycamore sees that opportunity where people are going to skew even more towards experiences. And what better than destination immersion?
Sure, absolutely. And it was a great concept in the beginning when you first focused on that, and it still is. Now, I guess the corollary would be, here you had Royal Caribbean Group had spent a lot of years, and I believe me, I was there when they first bought the first ships, and I was there when they unveiled, I was on the dockside when they unveiled the brand name. And in fact, that was then we all went off on Freedom of the Seas or something, and then we came back, and it was an interesting time, and it was sort of under the celebrity brand for a while, and then when Larry came in and you came in, then it became on its own, and so now they invested a lot of time, and now they decided they decided to sell it. Why do you think they decided at this time to sell it?
So strategies evolve, right? And we're in the middle of probably the most impactful black swan event that could have ever hit our industry or the world for that matter. And so companies, businesses all have to reassess what they want to do, how they do it, and how they focus their efforts. Remember, resources in this kind of environment are, you have to be very, very judicious on how you use your resources and your time. And so Royal Caribbean's strategy is evolving to focus on these bigger brands. Right. And so it's a great opportunity to find an owner that wants to invest and grow this brand. So it's a win-win.
No, absolutely. And I'm glad they did that. It sounds like Sycamore really is committed to it. I mean, most of the time you look at private equity firms, they're just going to hold on it for a few years and then they'll get rid of it, right? Well, they may do that eventually, but not before they build it up. And that leads me right into the next question, which is you have a new ship. You got a fourth ship, another R ship, we'll call them, and the famous R ships. And again, you got it from Carnival Corp, as you did with Pursuit. And it's the twin, it's the Pacific Princess, which if I was smart last week when I wrote the story, I would have said, it's a perfect fit. Why doesn't Azamara buy it? Except I was so focused on the fact that you had just, the Royal Caribbean had just sold you. I was saying, it's too quick. No, they couldn't buy another ship, but they did, right? So here you are, you have a new ship. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's exactly how you're saying it, James. It's the demonstration of confidence that Sycamore has in the future for this brand. So when you think about what Sycamore was committing to, they said, we think Azamara has opportunity, there's potential for growth. They don't mess around. Like this, here we are, less than a week later, we're making good on that promise, or they're making good on that promise. And it is the strongest way of them saying, we believe in the product, we believe in the brand, and we want it to grow. And here you go. We're starting it now.
Well, indeed, if they hadn't done that, there weren't any more R ships to go around right now. So they had to get this one. That was it, the last of the fleet, so to speak, which has been a very popular ship category over the years. Back when it was, I remember the days of Renaissance cruises, and who would have thought? But it's proven to be a very popular ship, and people like this thing. And of course, you are going to obviously work on it and get it to what you want it to be. Talk a little bit about what you're going to have to do to the ship to get it upgraded to your standards, what you want, how it will be changed, and what this fourth ship will allow you to do in terms of itineraries and new ports of call and things like that.
We will absolutely make her look and feel like her sister ships. That's very important. So it's all the soft goods. It's all of the surroundings. We want to make sure that our loyal guests are getting the same kind of consistent product that they're used to on the other ships. And so when they come on board, again, they feel like they're coming home to Journey, Quest, Pursuit, you name it, or, Azamara IV, as it's her working title for now.
Right.
We'll be working on a name very soon, but the idea is to make her fit into the fleet just like she's one of the four. Now, what we're really hoping to do is identify a couple of new twists that we might be able to add, which will give perhaps some more options, or a special type of experience that people can have on board. And that'll be something that they can look forward to on this ship. Right. But the really important things will remain in the new ship as well.
Well, obviously you're going to have a lot more flexibility in the future to develop more destination immersion, because you'll be able to go a lot more places. Again, just as you got that third ship and suddenly you were able to do a lot more things, you could do really destination-focused itineraries just on one country, and things like that, which I thought was unique. It was I don't remember that ever happening, of having real focus on areas rather than just seas or cruising around the Med, as much as you can do that very well as well. So I think this will be great. And I'll give you a name. You're now Azamaritizing the ship. Okay, so you'll be able to do that, and we'll look forward to getting that name and the new name of the ship, and see what you do with it. But let's go back to the deal. Do you think all this would have happened if it wasn't for COVID-19? Would all of this still have probably taken place, or is this the instigator because of this situation?
Well, I can't speak for Sycamore, and what their plans were in the past. We do understand that they've been interested in the cruise industry for a while, and they've been learning about it and checking around. It just happened that this became a perfect opportunity given everything that was happening and Royal's shift in strategy. So I think it was pretty fortuitous. But they were definitely interested in finding a way into the cruise industry.
No, and they certainly did in a big way. Now they have a 4-ship fleet, and who knows what's going to happen after this. Maybe there's some other stuff out in the market they may be interested in picking up. We'll see. Now, what's the mission that you have been given as the new president of Azamara? What goals do you have for this year and in the future?
Number one, hands down, is make sure that our product is preserved as we want it to be, as we're going through this transition. That will be extremely important, and that's our commitment. Of course, probably right there with that one is making sure that we have a healthy return to service, because we have to get it right. We have to make sure it's safe and healthy for our guests and for our crew. Right. Longer term, we want to make sure that as we do come back, get cruising again, add our new ship into the fold, that our customers continue to trust and understand that we were able to carry out a healthy return to service, the addition of a new ship, and that the brand will continue to deliver on what we have been promising. And then, of course, we always want to make sure that we innovate our programming and our destination experience. So perhaps you remember back in June of 2019, we had launched a big entry into the land space where we had created a wonderful portfolio. And for the moment, we've had to really scale back, in large part because of COVID. But we've also had to refocus our energies and attention to our core business. And so that's another thing that we certainly intend to get back to, because it's part of what the brand really offers the guests, the options, the extra experiences, and we make it so convenient, and deliver it in an Azamara way. So those are some things that we want to make sure we get back to and hopefully build on, because they are very much aligned with that core pillar of destination immersion.
Well, I do remember that, because I was very impressed by the operators that you had lined up, because you were working with some very higher end land operators. I mean, Mikado, people like that, things that were just very different. It was no longer just the cruise. It was just the entire experience, and getting that destination immersion on multiple days on land as well. And hopefully you'll get back to that very soon.
That's the goal. That's the goal for sure. It also gave us a chance to step back and assess which ones do people find the most compelling, the must do's, and then which other ones, maybe aren't the right ones at this time. Maybe we come back to them at a different time.
Right. Now, you mentioned earlier about getting back from COVID in a safe and healthy way, and I won't hold you to a date, but what's the current date? Because everybody's pushing everything back. But right now, what are you on the books to start cruising at this point?
To me, there are two things we have to keep in mind as we plan through this in order to have a date, because I can't tell you we have a guaranteed date. It would be wrong of me to guarantee anything given this kind of environment.
Sure.
But what I will say is we are focused on ensuring that all of our conversations with destinations, ports, all around the European region, which is where we will be at least through the end of November next year,
right.
That they understand our protocols, they understand how we're going to operate, and that they feel comfortable and approve our visits. And then number two is making sure that our guests can safely get to the ships and stay healthy while on board with all of the protocols that have been developed. And I just want to make sure, in case anybody hasn't heard, we intend to use the same protocols as Royal Caribbean Group, which I think are the best in the industry. Those
are all the healthy sail protocols, and as well as and I guess you will continue also to hear with these phased approach that CDC is recommending. Even though, to be honest with you, if most of your cruising is coming out of Europe, you're not sailing out of U.S. ports and North American ports, but you're still going to abide by the CDC rules, I assume.
Well, we'll probably have to focus more so on the ECDC, the European.
Groups. Right, yes.
Yep, yeah. So we'll be very focused on making sure we understand what they need and recommend, and along with whatever is being required on a local level. Mm-hmm. Our promise is that we will be on par or better than whatever measure is stricter.
Yeah, no, I know. And it is you're dealing with multiple nations over there. Yes, the European Union, but even with the European Union, there are different rules. And a lot of people are having that challenge right now. We think we have it bad here, but with the CDC still trying to figure out where to go. But with the Europeans, they are sailing. They are sailing in Europe now. A couple of ships, obviously MSC and Costa. Costa's coming up and MSC's coming back. But it's a whole different environment over there. So we'll see what happens there. Now, Royal Caribbean Group actually provided you with a fair amount of sort of back of the store support. Hotel operations, buying power, logistics, and more. Will Royal Caribbean continue to deliver this support, or are you going to do it on your own now? How is it going to work from, or maybe there's an interim step here?
Royal Caribbean is, they're wonderful about making sure that we can transition smoothly. Mm-hmm. And so depending on which area it is, there are, we've already been developing plans so that we can have, each area will probably need a certain period of time. Mm-hmm. Each one is a little bit different, but they're committed to helping us transition smoothly as we're working to bring up our own infrastructure and staff, so that we are able to stand on our own and slowly but surely be able to step away from the support of Royal Caribbean. But they've been fantastic, all of the shared services teams, and we'll be working with some of them up to 1 or 2 years because, just as an example, in technology, we're going to be building up all new technology for ourselves, a reservation center, a customer relationship management system, all of those wonderful things that help us engage with the loyalists and with the travel advisors and with the ships. We're going to get brand new systems, which is wonderful, but it will take some time. And so the team is very excited about being able to get new technology. But we know, of course, we're so fortunate that the Royal Caribbean Group will be helping us and supporting us until we're able to stand up on our own with that too.
No, that's great. I know that they would be very good about transitioning into, because it is tough to start from scratch in a way to get all the back office stuff if you just had been sold cold turkey and then they said, okay, bye.
No,
No, they're not going to do that. So that's great.
no.
Let's talk a little bit about what do you envision, and having had some initial, obviously, some talks with Sycamore, what do you envision with, will the Azamara product change or in what it delivers to guests, or are you just really going to focus on what it does right now so well?
We will absolutely continue to deliver the product that our loyalists know and love, and our travel advisors. We believe that we've got it right. The level of service, the friendly, engaging way that our crew interact with our guests, the type of itinerary planning, all of that we think is a winner. And so we don't plan on changing any of that.
No, that's great. And I know that having been on the ship a few times, you deliver a marvelous product, and the product was never the problem. Absolutely. Because it really was, it has been developed as a wonderful type of destination experience, and you kept on improving in that. As you mentioned, you were doing a lot of great, wonderful things with land tour operators and things like that, and hopefully you'll get that back. Now, in terms of your executive team, any changes afoot? How many people do you currently have on staff, and will that change?
No, none of our staff that is on board right now will change. That was one of the things Sycamore made very clear. We think that not only is the product great, we think that you've got the right people in place to continue delivering that great product. We don't want to change anything about that. What will happen is that it will grow because we need to create that infrastructure to be able to support technology, marine operations, all of these other things that were previously supported by our Royal Caribbean parent. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, I know a lot of your team, so I'm glad to hear that that's not going to change, because they're all great people, and they've been doing a great job for the past few years. In terms of any changes this is an easy question for you. Any changes to how you sell through travel advisors, how you market to them? Are there any new messages that you're going to be sending out to them, assuring them about the future of the brand?
Absolutely. And hopefully I've sent out a couple of messages now to our travel partners, assuring them nothing about our relationship changes. You're going to have the same wonderful team in our sales team helping you day to day, the same wonderful staff. I can't say enough great things about our staff in Wichita. They love the brand. They're so great about being on that front line every day and helping all of our guests and our travel partners. So that won't change, and we will commit to all of the same arrangements that we'd had with them. So commission levels, reservations for their guests, any kinds of benefits, promotions, things that we had, cruise credits, all of those things that we had provided to our travel partners or to our guests remain in place, and we will honor all of those.
No, that's great, and I'm sure our travel advisors certainly appreciate that. They were pretty good at supporting you in the past, and I know they want to continue to do that in the future. Now, in terms of your consumers, your and potential guests, you actually were pretty well known for bringing sort of newer people into the fold because you were so destination focused. And I remember, hearing that 50% of your guests were new at one point to cruising. Is anything changing in terms of how you do your consumer marketing and advertising? Any new messages to come there, do you think?
In terms of how we position the product and explain the value proposition, that wouldn't change. And so within our marketing, within our sales and co-op with our travel partners, all of that would remain the same. And of course, the only new messages that you would be hearing have to do with healthy return to service, which we want to make sure that once we have a clearer picture of protocols and other types of procedures as we head into healthy return to service, are being, they're evolving with vaccination and other kinds of advancements that are coming out every day. So once we feel comfortable that we understand where it all lands, we'll be pushing that information out. Mm-hmm. But other than that, we feel like how we describe our product and what we promise is the right message. So, no change there. The only thing is that, I will say, but we already started this a few weeks back, was helping our loyalists understand how they can benefit from bringing their friends along as well. Because the thing for us is we want to make sure that the person that sails on Azamara is the right person for Azamara. We want them to have a great time and understand what they're coming and what they're going to experience. If they're looking for big ship types of experiences, this wouldn't fulfill them. And we want them to make sure that they have a great vacation, and they should go to, fulfill what they're looking for. Yeah. But by leveraging our loyalists to say, hey, please, explain to your friends properly what Azamara is, what we offer, and there's something in it for you and something in it for them. We think that will be a really helpful way to address the right traveler that would really enjoy the Azamara experience. And we call it refer and receive. Sure. So that message has been out there a couple of weeks, but I certainly want to make sure that our loyalists know that there's something in it for them if they share the message in the right way to their friends who are like-minded in how they like to travel.
No, absolutely. That's a great message. And I guess my final question is, what does the future hold for Azamara? And I noticed that I wrote this question before asking, are there any new ships? Well, there is a new ship now. This question was written last week when I was preparing for this interview, but then today you did get a new ship. So, and unless you're going to get a new model of ship, because I don't think there are any more out there, as we discussed, I think for now you probably have a new ship, and that's it. But any other ideas about what the future holds for Azamara?
I think it's how I said earlier. We want to be focused on preserving our people and our product so that we continue to deliver on our promises. Healthy return to service, extremely important. We want to make sure we get back out onto the water as soon as it's safe and healthy to do so. And now we have this beautiful new project of a fourth ship. So that's really what I see us focusing on over the next year. It's I think a lot to focus on, but the team is excited for it. I'm thrilled to be doing this with all of them. I can't imagine a better group to do it with.
Now, is there any idea how long this will take the new ship in terms of transforming it to your specs and to get it back in the water? I'm not sure. A year, less?
So we're going to take our time. We expect her to begin sailing during the European season of 2022. Okay. Because we have to take our time to do this right. And so we're going to be identifying partners to help us do the work and to do it beautifully so that she looks spectacular once she's done. And once we identify those partners, start creating plans, we'll know, okay, we just work backwards from there. So we're not there yet. This is pretty new news.
Yeah, well, like today, at least for us. I know you've been thinking about for a while, and certainly probably in the course of the deal, it was discussed about what you would do. But it's great news. It absolutely is, and we're certainly looking forward to it because what you did with Azamara Pursuit was pretty spectacular. So I expect nothing less. Let's not put any pressure on you then. But yeah, it's going to be. We're looking forward to seeing this latest addition to the fleet. We thought you had a great job when you had 3, and now you got 4. So it's another new baby, I guess, right? So it's going to be amazing to see. Anything else that you want to tell our travel advisors out there about the deal, about the new ship, and the future for Azamara?
No, I think everything I've been able to share. The only other thing I would add is just how appreciative we are, all of us at Azamara, of their support. We want to make sure that we all get back to business as soon as we possibly can. I know that they're excited and they really, really want us to get back on the water, and we do too. We just have to make sure that it's done in a health and safe way, but we thank them so much for their support.
Well, Carol, it's been great to see you again so soon. First of all, congratulations on your new role as president of Azamara. Congratulations on this deal with Sycamore, which is going to suddenly is entering the cruise business in a very big way. And of course, congratulations on the fourth ship. Something that maybe we should have seen coming, but it's great to see that you guys, you all, Azamara has gotten a fourth ship, and it'll be back in the water next year. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. And who knows? I mean, if you get another ship, we'll do another interview. How about that? We'll see what happens in the future. But again, thank you so much.
You got it, James. Happy to talk anytime.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.